should help out quite a bit. Should log into Twitter to get rid of all those crappy messages that it automatically makes. There we go. So me, I would like to delete the message. Can I get to one, please? Delete. Thank you. I already had one. I don't need to make another. Anyway. Let's see. We'll see in a second, see how it all goes through. Who knows? But, anyway, what you're going to do is you're basically going to divide it up for the main screen that you're going to capture, which is obviously the main monitor. Why is the mouse blinking at me? Is that because I have this up? Or is it because I have two recording devices at once? I wonder what could be causing it. I think it's only on the main monitor. Let's check that out. Capture layered windows, maybe compatibility mode as well. Does not like that at all. Oh man. There's something weird here. Yeah, it doesn't like it when it captures the mouse cursor. Okay. That's okay. We don't need it. No, it's layered windows, actually. That's unfortunate. I use a lot of layered windows. Anyway, so you basically just have a screen region here set up that is essentially a 16 by 9 or whatever resolution you broadcast. Most people broadcast at 16 by 9. And you sort of divvy it up. This main area would be obviously where the game goes, and then over here to the left I would put maybe chat or something. Up here at the top right is a nice place to sneak the webcam in, and up here at the top right, well, that's an area where we can put things like information and whatnot. A good little area for things like if you're going to be, using this for something like speedrunning, you can dump chat up here. If you have scrolling messages that are basically like, hey, this is what I do. If you have music or anything like that, great idea. And the thing that's good about this is most of your screen real estate here, this large percentage of whatever it is, I believe, I don't know what percentage we're at, it is still mostly there. It is still mostly your stream, because that's the focus of what you're streaming. Unless you're a gaming talk show, people want to see the game that you're playing, and they want to be, feeling your commentary coming on, So I've got a few things that I sort of worked on. I've got this scene part 1 and scene part 2. Just open them up. We've got this scene part 1, which is basically just a simple little bit of division. All it is dividing up the monitor into 4 main spots. The top left is obviously where the webcam goes. Left is obviously chat. Game over here in the dark zone, and in the top right we have information. In this zone, what I've done is, if you can't really see it, I've made lines where all of the things intersect. But I've also advance the song to the next song. To a good song. But I've also made another area right here. And let me just show off all of the areas real quick. There's this guy right here. Now, I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. There's this green guy right here. Now this is special for me because I stream from the 3DS. I need an area for my 3DS bottom screen to live, so I'm going to put it right here. What I got was the actual resolution at which the 3DS outputs, scaled it appropriately to fit this region, and plopped it right here where it would be biggest and would be most relevant to the main screen. So now you've got sort of like this main area where I can put my 3DS top screen, bottom screen, right here. It just helps keep things organized, So what I'm going to do is, because we've made this all into lines, I'm going to just get rid of all these background layers. I'm going to make these lines something very big and visible that I can see on the blackness. That is, well, OBS, or XSplit's generic backgrounds. I can make them red, I can make them white, doesn't really matter. As long as they're a nice, big, bright color that you can see. I've only made them 2 pixels big, but it's more than enough to see it on the black background, because we scale everything. if we really need to make them bigger, what I can always do is use the outline object tool and just scale it up 2 pixels. Softness down. Here, that just scaled everything out an extra 2 pixels for me, which is nice. So, take this file right here, new file, save as, and we'll just call it lines. That's all we need, just lines. Just need these lines, and that's all we need. Get rid of all of these lines because we head back to our street. What we're going to do is, in all of our main scenes, we're going to be using these lines as a generic guide to keep everything aligned. Now let me go and find those line files so I can just drag it into the scene. Make life a lot easier for me. If I go to the stream stuff, cover stuff, stream redux, lines file, there it is. Make it big, and what I'm going to do, back to just XSplit so you guys have a bit more room to see everything that's going to be happening here. So there we go, we've got this basic lines set up. Now, I'm going to be running LiveSplit for my streaming program and I'll pull up everything that I need for that. So, LiveSplit app. There it is. And I'm just going to quickly make it go back into the mode that I was working with. Sonic Gen, just for reference, and layout is layout 1. Boom, moves it back to the right place, and what I can do is I can add this as a screen region. So I'm going to use the Add Screen Region tool that's built into XSplit, and then pop it in, scale it up appropriately to fit within my lines. As you can see, there's some dark room here, so what I can do now is actually either be creative or sort of get inventive with it. So what I can do is go into the settings of this and modify it so that it has more room, something like that. So edit layout, and then we would go into layout settings, and we'll give it splits. We should be able to give it more splits. So let's give it more splits. We'll give it, yeah, we'll give it 18 splits, because 18 splits, if we scale this up, if it's the whole bar, that means we can actually start like properly downscaling this, because we want to make sure that it fits properly. So I'm going to go back to editing the layout. Beast. Oh. Getting there. There we go. 14 seems to be the magic number. Stops at the 90s cool. Oh man. So we have this. We're going to make sure it's inside the white boundaries that we have. Now, of course, we have our main monitor region, which, if I move this somewhere where it's not going to get disrupted by anything, I can just add that at will. Top left, I can add a camera, so of course the cameras won't work because they're, oh wait, no, it worked. Wow, who knew? I didn't know that would work, but apparently it does. And always I make sure that my camera outputs are in the high definition that they were originally supposed to be with. Pop it into the right place, add the screen region for whatever I'm streaming, so we'll just put that down here, pump it up to the right size. That. Now we've got this area at the top left. You can see my mouse 1,000 times over. Now what I can do is, because I like always having my chat on stream, that's just the thing I like, we can go and take my chat here. Just be like, whoop, whoop, whoop. You won't be able to see much of chat, but, you know, you gotta work with what you got. Something like that. And finally, with this last bit of free space over here, I can add media file I have in my Abra stuff stream redux folder. This right top bar that I can just layer down a few and stretch it out to be the perfect size, just so it gives some filler, just so it gives something there to see. Yeah, stretch it down a bit. There you go. Basically, what we're going to do then is that's essentially speed running on screen that's this size when it comes to capture. So that is pretty much how you're supposed to properly do it. I'm going to obviously save this layout real quick just so it doesn't go away in live split because it's always a smart thing to do. And if you want, you can also get very creative with a program like Better Twitch TV or anything that is just able to do good chroma key. It's just a color key. I drop black. If you really want to get creative, chat on top of something, crying cat, and boom, you can have chat on the screen pretty easily. But of course, you've got to be very careful with it. You gotta sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Music seems to be a bit loud compared to my voice, so I'll bump it down a little bit. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much how you're supposed to do it. You sort of have this congruency. Because at the end of the day, what you want to be able to do is switch between one screen and another, and it all looks the same. It all sort of has this congruency behind it. There's a theme. Now, of course, your themes can get a lot more complex and a lot more pretty looking if you have the time and energy to do it, but at the moment I don't. So what I'm going to do is just make them all sort of have this basic congruence with one another, where they all sort of have everything is in the same spot. There's sort of that familiarity to it. I just tried dragging a PDN in. That won't work, but that will. That's a ping. Gotta make sure you get your files right. So of course I use the lines, and when everything is said and done, well, you just get rid of these lines here, and boop, there you go. Now there's sort of a black line that separates everything, but of course, if you want, you can always use the lines as part of your layout. It's not that big of an issue. It's not that big of a change. It's nothing really that is disconcerting and major. Once again, I want to say hi to everybody who's here. So I'm going to get rid of that just so it gives me a little room back. Trying to find something. So, of course, it's pretty much how you set up Mage Screen. You know, I'm going to use another one right here. Just be like, boop. Now there's this. Get this scaled up to the right size. Of course, make sure it fits in fine. Add screen region. Grab all this. Drag it up. Bada boop. There we go. Add, if I want to have my camera on, get that one. Hi, it's me from another angle. It's the same camera, maybe. I don't know. If I wanted to put another camera on, what I could do is add camera and get the other one. Hi, look at that. So video output, what I'm going to do is bump it up to 720p, 1080. Don't care really that much about the FPS because I only stream at 30 FPS because my computer can't do 60. So don't worry about having something with an output higher than the resolution that you stream at because it's no use, like Silver says. So if I really needed to have a second camera up here for some reason, whether I had a hand cam for when I was playing a game or anything like that, that's awesome, Icy. I actually got to see it. It's really cool. You know, stuff like that. And of course, you want to make sure you keep that congruency. I'm going to add the media file to the right bar and throw it up here. Stretch it out to its max, crump it up to the top so that it fits in. Get yelled at by my cat because he wants to get out of my room. All the good stuff that happens. Now, you can also do creative things. You know, these lines here aren't, the mainstay. They're not, the big permanent thing. It's all that good stuff, So basically, if I go from this to this, it's not that jarring. Of course, there are some minor changes, but the thing is, if I have the lines or that light, it could also be like sort of a light overlay. If you have them over your stream, to the point where it's sort of like, okay, well, the change isn't that jarring. Here you can kind of notice it because there's a little black side on the side that I really need to get, snipped. Well, but I mean, because every scene is essentially a copy of another, but modified slightly to fit the needs of the scene, then it works for let me quickly plug in the HD capture device so that I can show you just the same thing with a capture device. It's not that big of a difference, but instead of taking from your computer, what you're going to be doing is taking from the capture device. Not that big of a change, not that big of a worry. I'll plug that into 360, the console that I haven't touched in about 3 months, probably more. Pop it in here, obviously stretch it out so it fills the screen. We're going to add a camera, and it's the AverMedia Capture. Look at that. Nice, crisp view of a console that won't get touched. Pop it in, stretch it to the space it's supposed to be. Screen region. Of course, try and grab as much of the original screen region as you need, and then move it to where you need to move it. That. Boom. And finally, add camera. You know, the same thing over and over again. You might want to make a few sets of these lines if you use them as overlays. Of course, one for if you're using something with a 3DS, one if you're not. Maybe one with a certain feel or theme to it, while one not. It's all completely up to you. This is just the basics. Remember, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. And we also have the standard definition capture device, which is our little square capture device. Let me grab that guy. And, are you? Yes, you are alive. Okay, cool. Now, of course, this is going to be a bit different because, Wisely Gaming, I'm not one for, like, commission stuff because I don't really do that stuff, but, I mean, I'm trying to make these sort of videos to sort of give you a basic, like, help, so that you can go through it and be like, okay, how do you do this? Or how did he do this? Stuff like that. Now, I have a 4x3 capture device on a stream that is 16:9. If you don't know what those numbers means, those are the dimensions of the resolutions. So as you can see, this square won't fit if I try to drag it and make it as big as you can. Of course, there are some problems here. Let me turn on a game so you guys can actually see something on it. Ah, there we go. So now you guys actually have something we can look at. And I wonder, is this going to capture... This might actually capture the audio. I don't know. It should, but I don't know. It did! But the thing about it is it kind of fits in this space right here. Now, of course, that means I'm taking up the area where the top bar is, but because it's a older game with a lower resolution, giving it more screen space actually kind of helps it out because it's smaller. You know, the capture device can't do as high as a resolution. All that good stuff. No, I am not on the Zeldathon. Well, I'm on the Zeldathon video because I was there, but I'm not on, like, any Zeldathon video production teams. It's mostly MC stuff. So, that I don't know. But, yes. Ah, Jack, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that people are actually getting the stuff that I sent out. It makes me not scared that I didn't send it out. So, of course, here we've got, you know, a Sega Genesis. It's just my standard definition capture on my old school capture device. Of course, it's not high def because, sadly, the Genesis is putting out through a coaxial input, which has a resolution about as big as this square at the top left, sadly. Which is kind of sad, but hey, you know, it's a Sega Genesis. What can you do? Gotta love them old consoles. So if I want something with higher definition, I'll turn on the GameCube and switch to that. Alright, Wisely Gaming, and Much love to you too. But anyway, there. You've got something with a bit more lines, a bit bigger. 4chan cringe thread. Why would it be a cringe thread, though? For raising money for charity? I don't know. But anyway, that still keeps the main theme, so I can go back to my standard definition theme. And the chat is still in the same place. It hasn't moved. You know, the camera is in the same place. It hasn't moved. It's still, you know, keeping that same theme. And I can just move this camera over here. I'm kind of obstructing the gameplay if I really want to have the other camera up here in the top left. But really, I don't care. Just honestly, I'd rather have this camera up and on at all times. Because it's the one that faces my backdrop better. Because that's the reason I put it up. So that there's something for people to look at that's prettier than me. Anyway. But, yeah. But anyway, you essentially would copy this over multiple times just to get it set up to do what you gotta do. Yep. Airhawk, I see. But yeah, so now we've covered how to add media files. Of course, if you're using OBS, the way you would do this is use VLC and then capture the VLC window, or just any media player, really, it all depends, because I know OBS is coming to Mac soon. And of course, Linux, eventually. Now, of course, in the top right, once again, remember, there is an area for things like if I wanted to have scrolling advertisements for things, if I was sponsored by MLG 360 No Scope Mountain Dew Doritos 420 every day. Anything like that. As well as things like, hey, if you're interested in more of my content, I have a YouTube, a Twitter, a MySpace, a Friendster. You know, things like that. It's good to have them up there. And the thing is, you're still seeing most of the screen, most of the content people come to see you for. Now, of course, it's still, you know, a thing for you to work on, but you know, you've got to you know, pay attention and whatnot. I'm just looking at messages. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, so basically you would copy this process over, modifying it slightly for whatever screen you needed to get. Of course, if you're going to do standard definition speedrunning, you would, you know, set it up so that over here would be, of course, your speedrunning part, and if you really needed to have chat up, you could probably have it so half of this was chat, and half of it was the speedrunning stuff. It's all still set up with a generic theme of chats on the left, games on the right. Videos at the top left, extra stuff's at the top right. You want to kind of keep that solid theme of where things are positioned and how things look. Now, of course, the line stuff, if you do have sort of like a line layout that you have on top of everything, that is sort of the theme to how you're doing stuff, that's fine. And of course, if you have a green screen, ignore the top left whatsoever. You can green screen out everything behind you and just have your floating disembodied head there, and it takes up a lot less room. Just saying. Floating disembodied heads are pretty damn cool. So, let's say I was doing one for Jack of all trades. Now this Abra, I like him a lot. Let's get rid of him though. Oop. Oh, wait, that wasn't the Abra. Let me find it. It should be somewhere. Top right bar. There you are. Get out of here. What I would do is I would add a media file, go to my Dropbox where I have that logo saved. Jack of all trades full. Boop. Put him up here. There you go. Have him sit up here and do his thing. Or, if you really wanted to be fancy, I could drop him down here, fade him out a bit with a little bit of this. And then I can keep my bar, as well as all that other stuff. If you really need to have a watermark or a logo on for something, that's all completely up to you. But that's pretty much it. I mean, you guys have adding videos, you guys have getting pretty much everything set up with a basic layout. The only other things that really you need to worry about is if you're going to be doing chroma keying stuff, please make sure you keep everything that's chroma keyed one color that is not interacted with you at all. Don't wear a green screen, or don't wear a green shirt when you're on a green screen. Stupid things like that are pretty self-explanatory, you know. If you're going to be doing stuff with cameras, make sure you have proper lighting. I don't have my lights on because they make a lot of heat, but if I turn them on, I look a lot better. Look at that. You can actually see that I'm not blue. It's pretty damn amazing. Of course, it's all about physical stream layout as well. I have the camera behind my monitors, and behind that I have some foam that was used for packing computers. But I nailed that against the wall, and that sits there to sort of dampen my voice, so there isn't a reverb. Because if I hold my hands behind the mic, you can hear that it kind of reverberates off my hands and comes back and hits the mic. So it is, you know, just little things like that that help the clarity of the voice. Yeah, that should be good. I don't know if there's anything else left to cover, but that's the basics of it, pretty much. Of course, if you're going to be posting something like this onto YouTube, it's always a wise idea to record. And if you're going to record it, please, for the love of God, edit it. I mean, if you have any editing software, please, you know, if you're editing what you did, I can understand just copy-pasting the best moments. Don't just dump it all into YouTube if you're going to record it. And I didn't record this because I'm an idiot. Just saying. But you sort of want to... But I don't really care about YouTube because I don't make YouTube content. But if you're mainly focused on YouTube content and you stream stuff on this channel normally, or on your Twitch channel normally, but you mainly put it on YouTube, record it, make sure it's recorded, then edit it, then put it on YouTube. Don't just do a dump onto YouTube unless you don't really care. That's it. But yes, that should be it, guys. Now, I don't know if there's anything else I really need to discuss. You pretty much have the basics of how to make a simple layout. Once again, this is a show where we're a jack of all trades, master of none. If you really need to do anything fancy, I'm not the guy for it. There are people who do it much better than I do. But I'm just saying, keep a sort of a congruent theme. Keep everything sort of, you know, with this sort of theme of one thing or another. And don't be afraid to be a little creative. Don't be afraid to be original, you know? It will pay out in the end. So I think that is pretty much it, guys. You guys know the basics of what you need to do. So I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to work on my layouts a bit more because when I actually start using these, I want them to be really nice, really pretty, all that good stuff. I want it to be this really nice thing that I'll just start using all at once rather than I'm slowly pushing everything towards it. So I'm going to continue to use my old layout, which is, if I click File, Save, File. Oh, get in there. It's being very slow today. What's going on? It might be because I have two different streaming things open at once, as well as a Flash player viewing the same stream. It doesn't like that. Actually, this one's a new presentation. Save, yes, replace. And if I load the old presentation, I'm going to get back to the one that I use mainly. It should be Apple 3.
I'm flying down the planet.
Just skip to the next song. This one, which isn't even labeled correctly. It's labeled Feed the Beast. Like, it is so much good compared to the other one. It's not that good. Also, there's a lot of me. Look at that loser. I touch his butt. Never mind. But once again, guys, thanks again for coming. Thanks again for being here. You guys are awesome. I'm going to be heading out. And I will see you guys next time when I stream next. Probably more Pokedachi Life. I got some awesome Miis people sent in, as well as some adjustments that I should probably make to mine and Absols, so they're not at 13% compatibility. But once again, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to go crawl up in my hole and figure out how to make proper layout. Or just make a proper layout, make mine a little bit better. But, thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. Have a great night.